This is episode 1,078.
Welcome to the Ultimate Deck Podcast.
Ultimate Deck Podcast.
Helping you keep your finger firmly pressed on the decking industry, the people in it, and the information you need to master the backyard. And now, host of the Ultimate Deck Podcast, Shane Chapman.
Welcome, everybody, to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Gorgeous Friday right before May long weekend, and holy smokes, the season is under full order?
Swing.
That's the word I was looking for. It's been crazy busy all week this week.
Get out to more of the parties I go to. Swing would come naturally to you.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm more used to the order. I've got wife, kids.
Right.
Or lack of order, maybe.
Okay.
Anyway, looks like are you chomping at the bit to get going on your segment here?
I'm ready.
I thought you were fired up and ready to go.
No, I was like, it's a new phone. I don't use
But
these things.
are you ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, then
Let's get ready.
What's happening in Simcoe? Simcoe News, I don't know if he's joined yet on the Instagram. Join us on Instagram Live when we record these. Follow us on Instagram so you know when we're going to do it, because we just put a story up and be like, heads up, we're about to record stuff. Join us. And we've got a few people in here today. So if there's any questions, fire them into the Instagram. Haven't let them know what we're talking about yet. But we put up a poll and we're just going to follow the poll. So if you've been paying attention, you'll know. But anyway, Simcoe News, what do we got?
There's been an outbreak in COVID in Simcoe. An absolute outbreak. 7 new cases.
All from the same place? Like all from Jollibee's? Or
Ooh.
do they have Jollibee's there?
I don't know. Have
you
there.
been to a Jollibee's?
No.
Bryce, have you been to a Jollibee's? No. Has anybody on Instagram been to Jollibee's?
They serve spaghetti.
They do serve spaghetti.
Chicken.
I've heard it's super bland. I've heard all the food there is super bland. It's a Filipino restaurant, right? Filipino chain.
Okay.
And when it opened here, we've got a fairly large Filipino population here. The place was like, it was like the grand opening of the first McDonald's ever. They just got slammed. There was people lined up for days. They had tents outside. It was ridiculous. But then it was lined up last week?
It can't be lined up last week. They're not allowed to have people there.
Yeah.
The drive-thru went
Oh my God. Eric Teru says, "What's that?" Exactly. It's a Filipino McDonald's, Filipino chain of burger joint, but they've also got pasta and spaghetti and stuff. I've never been.
We should go.
It was a big deal. All I've heard from non-Filipinos is that the food is super bland and
We'll take our own salt.
overrated.
We'll be good to go.
Anyways,
Okay.
no Jollibee's in Saskatoon.
Here it is. We got 7 new cases in Simcoe.
In all of Simcoe.
Yeah, the total is up to 406.
Active or total?
Guy, I just read headlines.
Listen, I got questions. I need you to have my answers.
I'm not into the second paragraph.
Okay.
32 people have died.
Just in Simcoe County?
That's what it says, man. Includes 32 deaths.
Well, that's getting a bit more serious.
So, remember, just last week I was talking about we should go to and we means me, should fly to Ontario and pick that delivery truck up, right?
Right.
There was the truck there.
Yes.
It was a roaring deal. I was like, I should go.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, that's a good idea. You should go. And I was like, yeah, I'll go. I'm invincible. And then I went home and I told my wife, and she was just like, not a flippin' chance.
Yeah.
But then there was some parameters around it. And I was like, dude, you're overreacting.
I thought the deal she was pitching you was actually fairly attractive.
I know you did, but it was like,
she just said she didn't want you home for a week after we came home. I was like, holy smokes.
Go to
How
Saskatoon.
are you still here?
Yeah, exactly. So golf courses weren't open at the time, so it was a tough one for me.
Yeah.
They're open now,
But
so no
it would have been this week that you were gone. That's a good thing you didn't go.
I know.
In hindsight.
Played into it. So
Simcoe
anyways,
outbreak.
so I didn't want to fly into Simcoe and then hang out with buddy Mike and pick up the COVID and be one of the 406. So, okay. So we have an outbreak. Second article.
Do you think there's people?
Still an outbreak.
Never mind.
Third article. Still an outbreak. Found out there's a 30-year-old male that has it. So that's it. Simcoe's
all the news in Simcoe is COVID related. That was they had some good news last week, and then it's gone right back into the shitter this week.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, enough about Simcoe news. There's no good news coming out of Simcoe.
The fifth one is we need to relax our social rules. Settle down.
Oh yeah, you're right in the middle of it.
4% of your population died this
Eric
week.
Tedder says, just wait for truck deals. They're going to get better soon.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, yeah, wait till the end of the year when they've got to like put something on their books. It's going to be like,
we're both
yeah,
going to get
Christmas
new trucks
gifts,
this fall.
quarter price.
Yep.
For a while now, people have been on our case. And they've been saying, like, for a variety of things.
Are we going to start into this? We're starting into the thing? Is that what we're doing?
Well, I was gonna, but sounds like you have better plans.
I got a thing. I have this one thing I want to talk to you about.
Okay. Do I know where this is going?
Today,
Okay.
when you walked into the store,
I did.
you were wearing makeup.
I was.
And it was obvious from outside of the door.
Okay.
So why is your nose so bruised today?
I don't know if this is coming through on the camera. I don't think it is. I don't think they can see it on Instagram. Okay. So
It was
on TikTok.
Yep.
Okay. No good stories start with on TikTok. On TikTok, there is this category of videos, or I don't know what you want to call it, but like this trend, I guess, of people using these pore vacuums. They call them pore vacuums. And so what it is, it's a little tool that has a little suction nozzle at the end of it, and you turn this tool on and you like drag it around your skin and it cleans out your pores. It like vacuum sucks your pores out. So if you, right? And so I'm looking, I've been told that my nose looks normal. So screw you, Wade. I've been told
didn't this morning.
I've been told that. What have I been told?
I don't know.
I don't know where I was going with
It's
that
your
now.
story. So the pore vacuum is trending.
Yeah, and so like I don't know why. There's people out there that like watching pimples. I'm semi-fascinated by it. I'm not like a hard-up pimple popper guy, but my wife kind of is. And so I saw this thing and I was like, well, that looks like it'd be fun to do. I could clean out some pores. So I ordered this pore vacuum, right? I don't know what it was even anymore.
How much do you pay for
30 or
this
40
thing?
bucks. 30 or 40. So my wife last night, it's like, how much do you pay for it? I was like 180 and I just didn't even I didn't even blink. I just kept like unpacking and she's like, what? And I looked up and I was like, what? And just like deadpan, and she's like, you did not. No, yeah, I didn't. I didn't. I spent like, I don't know, $30 or $40. And so there I go. I've been waiting for this thing to come for a week. It was supposed to get there Monday. It was delayed. I was like, just itching. I was like, come on, I want to try this pore vacuum out. The videos look so fun. People are like, because the ones in the TikTok, they got cameras inside of them. You can see they're dragging around.
This is so gross,
and they're
man.
like cleaning out their pores. I was like, this is fascinating. So I order one. It gets delayed. I'm disappointed, understandably. But every day I come home like, hey, was there a box for me? No. Hey, was there a box for me? No. So last night, no box still, but my wife's like, but
And
I didn't
my
check
pores are just choking because I can't get my Amazon purchase.
That's this conversation happened this morning. She's like looking, she's like, oh yeah, you're does it feel better? And I was like, well, it's not that it felt full. I didn't feel that my pores weren't even bad. I just was fascinated by this tool. So
I had no idea how terrible I felt
yeah.
until I vacuumed my nose.
Yeah, exactly. I've got more mental focus now.
Wrong.
Anyway, so
Yeah, gross. Absolutely. It's so disgusting.
Daryl, our general manager in Saskatoon, thinks this is a cover up for my wife punching me in the nose.
Yeah. That's
Which
what
is
I
like, this is
thought.
pretty elaborate, right? But
Because I asked you
you
today.
did, you're like, who
what happened to your nose?
stroked you in the nose?
I was like, what happened to your nose? And you were like, I'll tell you later. And there was like people on the floor. I was like, holy shit, the guy had a domestic, man. And I was like,
Yeah, no. So anyways, yesterday I get home. There's no package there again. I'm like, come on, this thing's like, I ordered it from Amazon. They're usually pretty on the ball. Not there. And I was like, ah, crap. So I go into my Google orders to see like, where's this thing at? Status, delivered today. Whoa! It was go time. I got the kid. I was like, we're going to the mailbox. Let's go. Saddled him up, off to the mailbox, open it up. This like the mailbox glowed inside. Like I opened the door and beams of light shot out. It was unbelievable. And so I pull the box out and I hand it to my son because I feel like this is something I should pass on to my next generation. I handed it to him and I was like, you can walk this home, but if you drop it, you're going to disappear. So away I go back to the house. It's the longest walk ever. It's only 2 houses away, but
I
it
wanna
took forever to get
I want
there.
to try it.
couldn't.
I think I'm going to try this right now.
Got inside the house, set it down, forgot about it. I don't even know how. It's busy. Last
It's 'cause
night,
you have
I
kids.
remember it was like, oh yeah, the port vacuum. Bust that thing out, take a quick look at the instruction, be like, oh look, it's got full battery. Boom, into the bathroom. Let's go. Turn this thing on.
To get to the mirror. Because you got to be in front of the mirror.
Because you want. I don't care about what it's actually doing. I just want to see I want to see it working. So I
So disgusting.
I get in there and I fire this thing up and I've read. I was like, don't leave it in one spot. Like, keep it moving.
On the instructions, you read this?
No, but like, I don't know, on the videos or maybe I was on the reviews of the product, probably actually. So I get in there and I'm like, I'm giving her, and this thing,
I'm not so
this
strong
thing
at
sucks like a
reading.
Hoover. Like, it's like, for a little tiny unit, it's got a lot of juice. So
It's like your first high school experience.
I started giving her, and I was like, it was going great, and I was like, well, this is fantastic. And so, but then like I had done the areas I thought I needed done, but I wasn't ready to be done because I was like, this is fun. So I went over a couple spots.
Maybe I'll get it like super clean. Maybe
Yeah.
there's like pores behind the pores.
And I didn't think it looked like it was bruising me or anything. So I was like, well, I can safely go back and go a little slower. So I did that on the tip of my nose. And on one spot in my
rookie.
cheek here, I was just like, what about here? Right? I lost 3 pounds. And then, so anyway, I finish up and I'm like, it's a little red, but I think I'll be okay. Whatever.
Unbelievable.
Show my wife. Then my wife hadn't seen the videos yet. Then I show her the videos and she's just fascinated. She's like, oh, I got to try this thing. And then like, I don't know, let's say in an hour or something like that before she goes to bed, she's like, your nose is bruising.
Yes.
It's starting to bruise. And I was like, what? Go to the bathroom. It's like starting to turn purple there and here. And I was like, oh boy, this isn't going to be good. I sat down to do some work last night, packed her in. I don't even know what time it was. 1, let's say. Went back to the bathroom at 1, full on bruise. Like I had a full on hickey on the end of my nose. And I was like, not good. This ain't going away overnight. Wake up this morning, full out hickey on the end of my nose. So I'm like, wifey, I need you to fix me up with some makeup here.
Yeah.
I need some concealer, foundation, whatever it is that does this.
Obviously, you have to deal with this every morning based on your face. So if you could like fix mine too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's
she
like,
does really
listen,
good.
I can't do this for you. Your whole face is bruised.
So do you want to know what I found out this morning?
You're on your own.
You want to know what I found out this morning? My wife warned me. She's like, well, we have different complexions, different skin types,
Yeah.
skin tones. And I was
Imagine
like,
being married to a redhead.
Yeah, but yeah. I was like, but it's like we're both Caucasian in their skin
Nope.
color.
Wrong.
She gets out some stuff, dabs it on. Turns out my wife is green. Turns out my wife is green skin color.
We can't bring her here. She
No,
wouldn't work against the
she
green
would be
screen.
just a t-shirt and a ponytail in front of a green screen. So she dabs it on there, and I walk into the thing, and I'm like, my nose looks like a prosthetic. It's like the wrong color
Hey,
for my
Shrek.
face.
Hook me up with some different
And
product.
I come back
here.
out and look at her. I was like, how are you green? How is that the color for you? So we tested a few things. It was like, we wiped that off. She dabbed some stuff on there. I was like, what do you got to do? Like, let's mix some blush in there. I don't know. But at this point, I can't
Go
there's
into
no
the
good
basement,
solution
grab
here.
some of that blue paint that we had, drop
Yeah.
that on there.
So anyway, that was, apparently it's a good story because we're up to 16 people in here.
Anyways.
So that's the story of why I have a hickey on the end of my nose. Bruce, I don't need to blink. I wasn't domestically abused last night, unless you consider my fascination with this little tool some sort of formal relationship, which is possible. So, and then I knew I had to walk in today to probably what was going to be the busiest day of the year and talk to 30 people, customers who would be doing nothing but staring at my nose. And I finally felt
was so
like
bad.
what it feels like to just be like objectified by men because people are staring at my body parts instead of my face. Like, here in the eyes, buddy.
Yeah. And so I felt like I got busted staring at your nose a couple times today when I was talking to you, and you were like, and then when I finally looked back and made eye contact, you were like scowling, and I was like, well.
So I thought I was getting away with it. I actually forgot about it until you said, like, what'd you do to your nose? And then when Nita said something like, what'd you bump into whatever she said?
Did you walk into a wall?
Walk into your wall. I was like, yeah, but my man boobs aren't quite big enough to protect me. So she said, and I was like, all right, gig's up. I guess my makeup's worn off or something. I don't know. I haven't looked at the mirror
it
all
was
day.
showing through the whole time.
But anyways, I got to the mirror at some point and I was like, it started to go away. It's not purple anymore. It's just a bit red. But anyway, if you've learned anything from this podcast, it is keep the tool moving.
Get yourself a vacuum.
Get
yourself a poor vacuum.
Yeah. LED
Keep
Light
your
Guy
tool
says, tough
moving.
life of a face mask tester. We all thank you for your hard work.
Yep.
So I don't mind being the guinea pig once in a while. And if that makes people's faces safer, then I'm glad I did it.
I don't think you're alone on this. I personally have never ordered the vacuum, but I have thought about doing like the black tar that people like they like lay the tar on there and then you like pull it off and it's like slow and like.
So I've done
Who
the
doesn't
strips,
want cleaner
like just
skin?
The board, whatever what do they call them? The strips that you put on there and whatever. And
Have
those
you
are
done that?
fun. And again, I don't do them because I feel like I need to. I do them because I'm fascinated by it. You like rip strip off and it's like, look at this. Look at this.
Look at all the things.
So maybe I should have stopped at the strips. I don't know.
Anyways.
But
So it is.
So what about you? Have you tried any gadgets lately that didn't go so well for you?
Nope.
Podcasting. Hey, don't know how to use a microphone.
No. That shit's personal, man.
Okay.
We're not talking about that.
Okay. So
I actually, I don't know that I have tried any gadgets. I broke it to JJ that I bought a new set of clubs the other day
oh yeah. Okay. And then
because I want to use them.
Did you get them used on you after that?
Nope. No. I just walked in and was like, I have new clubs. And she was like,
Okay, so here's more funny story. So Eric Teru says, can the next podcast be about reducing face shine? Okay, so I left a step out.
my
Okay,
goodness.
so I've got this pasty olive skin tone on my nose this morning from my wife's stuff, and I'm like, we got to add some color to this thing. Like, I can't go like this. Add some color in. And she's like, well, I don't really have anything that's not shimmery that's going to add some color. And so I start popping some cases open. I was like, what about this one? This one looks like a little bit closer to my skin tone. She's like, yeah, but it's got a shimmer to it. I was like, it doesn't look that shimmery. And so she's like, as if like this is like some DIY guy that's never swung a hammer telling you how to build a deck. I'm like, no, it'll be fine. Look at it. It's not that shimmery. So she
listen,
she's
I
like,
Googled
whatever.
it and it says that Mary Kay 11.5 is perfect for my skin.
Yeah. So then she's like, fine. Don't take my advice. Dab, back to the mirror. It's like, well, that's pretty shiny now. I got a bright nose now. Color's better, but it's very reflective. And so then we had to put on some other thing. She's like, oh, maybe you should use, there's something for everything. I'll tell you that right now.
I'll tell you what.
The hell I'll tell you that for $1. Then I had to go back in and get touched up with a clear shimmer reducing. I don't know what it is. It's like a matte finish.
Spray.
It was dabbed on again, but it's like it makes. Now, what is the point of this stuff? Like, if you're gonna put
You can
shimmery
swear.
stuff on,
Give her.
I've done it a couple times.
Shut her down a couple times.
If you're gonna put a shimmery thing on, why would you then want to put the thing on top that makes it not shimmer anymore? Why not just not shimmer? But maybe that's for like oily skin. Maybe that's the shine you're trying to take away. Which segue into Eric Teru's comment. Maybe I can hook you up, brother. So
It's a spray.
people think I just know about decks. Well, I'm pretty well-rounded, guys.
Almost nobody is now going to tune into why would you ever use railing.
Donning and Decking thinks this is the best podcast yet. So, like, I'm telling you, people aren't here just to learn.
No, they actually don't want to learn.
I actually don't even want to talk about railing today, which is the topic we were going to tackle.
What are we going to talk about?
Can it, like, what are we going to
Just do
bring
an
everybody down right now with the, like, and then you
So what do we do?
put some guardrail in your neck?
We'll just do an episode about stupid shit you've
Well,
done
I
in your
don't
life?
like. I feel like I'm out of makeup stories. That was the only one I really had. I haven't really done a lot of makeup in my life. I haven't.
I always try makeup because I'm really bad for trying to pop heaters, and then
You've rolled in here with makeup before, covering up heaters.
oh yeah,
You're way better at it than I am. 'Cause
absolutely.
I've never noticed.
I've been doing it for years, but it's because
You have,
so
okay, so did you buy makeup that matched
no,
your
no,
skin tone?
no, no,
Come
no.
on.
Yeah, Red and I just took at it.
There's no way that Red's. We're calling your wife Red. There's no way that Big Red's skin tone is the same as yours.
It's not
You're
even
sharing
close.
makeup.
No. It's
Well,
not.
how
even
do you
close.
blend it
It's
so
eyeshadow
well?
stuff. We have to mix eyeshadow
How do
into
you
it.
blend it so well? Can we discuss haircuts? Says Gary. Eric.
Yeah, we can.
I've got a wicked COVID cut. Like I'm in need of right now.
The back is ugly.
Oh, it's a mess back there.
So here's what happens. I chew my fingernails, right? I always have for as long as I can remember. And so when I try to like,
Do you think you
I
went a little
chewed it
far
off.
one time?
I went too far. That'll happen. Right? I was super nervous. Shane was like, we should open a deck shop. I chewed my whole thumb off. So it's always on my forehead because I try to pop heaters. I get them like right in here in the, like in between.
Where
my
you
eyebrows.
shave off your unibrow.
I never shave it. It just naturally falls off. So
It's a temporary unibrow. It grows out and then sheds.
yeah. So because my fingernails aren't that good, I try to pop them and then I slip. Because right? And then
You slipped what?
like when I'm trying to pop it, and then my finger, like the bed of my finger hits the other part, and then my fingernail slips along my
You
skin.
cut yourself.
And then I cut myself. And so I like often come
There
here
is
with
no way that
ripped
anybody
skin.
believes that you and I have built a successful business after this podcast. There's zero chance.
Yeah, call us. We'll open the books up.
Okay,
And then you'll know.
So you slash and dash, and then you make up.
So I
an-
slash and dash, right? And so now now a third of my forehead is peeled. And it's like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? Well, we gotta go stand in front of people all day. What are you gonna do? And that was how I was able to identify your makeup through the door. Like
'Cause
you
you're-
walked up and I was like, ha, I've done that before. I've seen that before. That guy is trying so hard. And what he should do is like, you should just give up on it. Right? It's like,
Yeah, you should probably just take your lumps and
Yeah.
come to work, tell the story.
what
get
happened to
over
your
it, and,
nose? I'll tell you what. I thought about bringing this vacuum home, and then I did. And don't order vacuums on the internet.
No, but maybe you should because you can't trust your own fingers. So maybe
Oh,
you
yeah,
should
no,
try
I
the
got-
vacuum.
Yeah, no. Listen, I'm not doing that.
Why? It sounds safer for you.
Wrong.
Well, I'm not.
Wrong.
I put it there.
Wrong.
I didn't bruise there.
Yeah.
It's just really sensitive skin right here.
So I had frostbite on the end of my nose from hunting. That is really, really not good. Frostbite on the end of your nose, because now my nose is
Oh yeah, that is a great
permanently.
story.
My nose is permanently that
We're
color.
closer to related than we're probably willing to admit. We've both in the last year did some
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
serious damage to the tips of our noses.
Yeah. When I froze mine bad. Not
You
good.
came to work and your freaking nose was your
Peeled.
nose is
Like I
peeling off.
peeled the end of my nose. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's now like permanently darker. It's just done.
Well, maybe mine will be too.
Nope.
Okay,
Do we?
tune in next week, everybody, when we're like. All right. Do you want to talk about decks or what?
Yeah. I think we should.
Having a good
why
time.
not?
Having a good time.
Okay, what else? Do you have anything left to chat about on there? On the IG?
I haven't really been paying much attention here, aside from people talking about haircuts that need to be cut.
Oh, dude, your haircut it's not good. What's going on? How come you don't have a haircut done? Get your haircut cut. Haircut cut. Get your hair cut.
I'm pretty lucky that my wife only says she listens to the podcast and doesn't actually listen to it. So what? What do you want me to say? It's been 2 months since we've been allowed to go to a hairdresser, and see Bryce is in the same boat.
No, I got my haircut.
Really?
I got mine cut. Did you cut mine?
Yeah, but yours looks shorter. So I haven't been to a hairdresser.
Yours could look
I-
shorter too if you got it cut.
Well, I bugged my wife for a while to be like, I need you to shave my head. I want you to shave my head. And she's busy. And she's like, yeah, we'll do it. And then eventually I just gave up. I'm like, I'm not asking a 28th time. It's over. I'm just going to wear the shag.
JJ
And so
just
we're
tuned in.
shagged up.
JJ, will you cut Shane's hair?
Well, I don't know that I'm looking for
A hand
charity. But I think I've just given up. And I think I'm going to grow it out.
Nope. No.
I've never had long hair before.
It would look awful on you.
You don't know that.
Yes, I do. Because
Your wife joins us like, what the hell is going on
I don't.
in this
Thanks.
conversation
Yeah,
right now?
I joined and peace.
Yeah.
She's out.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not cutting your hair. I'm out of here.
So, yeah, anyway, I'm not really
It's
actually
not-
growing it out, but I just decided that if it's this long, I wear hats all the time anyway. I'll just keep wearing hats until I'm allowed to go to a hairdresser.
Dude, you got wings, man. Like, why don't you just shave it off? Just get some clippers and go like a number 2 and around.
It may still happen. We'll see. Okay. I don't know.
Okay.
It's the haircut now, right? Shave
No,
your head.
everybody's haircut is like
Bowl
they
cuts.
got it cut at home.
Donning Decking says, if you want your missus to cut it, just get out the flippers. The flippers? Just get the flippers out and tell her you're starting with the kids. Clippers? Do they call it flippers in Australia, or is that a typo?
No, he's Australian. They're flippers. We use flippers for swimming, but Australians use them to cut their hair.
Yeah. Are you? Anyway. Am I scared that it won't grow back? No, I'm not. I shaved my head last summer once, and it grew back. So, but maybe there's less and less chance each year. So, okay. Mitcon Deck says the best thing he's done. Shaving his head, presumably. Number 3. Oh, number 3 razor. Best thing she's done. Okay, so
look at
my wife. Yeah.
I'm cutting
eating
it
when you get home. It's like,
oh, I thought she said I'm cutting it when you get home.
no, she's not in here. There's no chance she's in here.
Okay.
So anyway, okay, well, let's get to the episode. It's 26 minutes in.
Okay, good. Let's do 5 minutes of railing and then get out of here.
Yeah, railing is for safety, and you want it on stairs. Next week, we're talking about decorators. Okay. Unless something else pops in our mind that's stupid to talk about, we'll get into the railing episode. So what we're talking about today, there's been people bugging us about, let's talk about different types of railing, what's out there, because in certain... You heard that?
I don't think
I tried the
anybody
vacuum on my
couldn't.
throat, too. Types of railing are very regional. There's, there's different types out there, but the types that different regions use primarily is different from place to place.
I feel like your point number 2 is where I want to start.
Yeah, I agree. I think we go 2, 3, 1.
Okay, good. So
Australian counting.
Can we tell the story of when we were visiting with Stan at the trade shows? Here it goes. I don't
know what you're talking. Oh, that Stan.
Yeah, my buddy Level Home Improvement Stan.
Okay, I feel like this is a dry story, but have at her.
He was trying to buy railing, and we told him that there was good railing in Canada, and he said he had bad railing in the U.S., and then it was great. We told him what great railing was.
You're killing it.
No, so
you slayed that story.
I slayed it. Now everybody's going to buy Canadian railing.
Yep.
So it was just that we were at a trade show, and you and I were looking for information on composite rail because it looks so much different than the aluminum rail that we sell up here, and that's like 95% of the market, right?
Yeah.
And so we sell aluminum railing. We're at this trade show, and we're like, guys, we're here. We got to find composite rail. And they were there looking for aluminum rail.
Yes.
So it turned out the best part of that story was that we should have just chatted with each other, because the sales guys, they'll sell you whatever they want to sell you, right? But the installers were actually looking for different products. And so when you say railing is very regional, it's like we were in the U.S. looking for stuff that we couldn't get in Canada, and they were at the show being like, why would you guys ever want to install that? It's so much, like, aluminum's got to be better.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have any stories about times you ran into somebody you knew at the grocery store that you wanted to tell?
No.
I'm sorry, Bryce lost it. Now I'm losing it.
I don't go to the grocery store.
Okay.
COVID.
Yeah. It's been a while.
COVID.
Yeah. Okay. So, railing. Great segue into the topic today. There's different types. And,
aluminum.
Okay, so we're not going to talk about wood railing. Let's just get that off the table. This isn't about wood. Nobody's like, wood is wood. You know what those options are. The types of railing that we would consider to be maintenance-free, or would be commonly paired with maintenance-free decking, is kind of what we're talking about here, can come in a variety of options, right? We've got aluminum, we've got composite, got PVC, got stainless steel, coated steel, iron, maiden. No. Okay. So, but railing comes in all shapes and sizes is the moral of the story. So in Canada, or at least in our market, aluminum is by far the dominant railing
But I
type
believe that's
in
all
all
of
of Canada,
Canada.
I think.
Yeah.
And in the U.S., it's very composite heavy. Now, I think the aluminum market is growing, and I think there's no further evidence of that than the fact that the big decking brands are also releasing aluminum lines now too, that have traditionally only done composite. And so aluminum seems to be maybe edging out in this battle.
On your board, write down.
Aluminium.
I want to come back to this. Write down big brand aluminum awareness.
What?
Go ahead with your story.
Okay. So let's limit this down because iron and steel are kind of almost like special needs. The special needs of the bunch. They're special scenarios, special cases. Not a lot of people are doing iron railing anymore, wrought iron railing.
No,
but like you can get it made, whatever. It's out there.
It's a ton of work too, right? It's like you have to cut it and then you have to powder coat it. It's just like it's so much more work.
There's
after
better
you
products
cut
out there nowadays that you can do railing out of.
Okay.
Easier to work with, whatever, right?
Yeah, it's lighter. We're all soft.
So let's
now.
focus this conversation on the aluminum, composite, PVC categories. And even like the
I'd
big
like to
dogs are aluminum and composite, right?
I'd like to dismiss PVC.
There's
right
a lot
away,
of PVC
so
railing
let's
out
get
there.
rid of
There's some
that.
good stuff out there. The big knock against PVC sometimes is it's like sometimes it squeaks. And this is a blanket statement. It certainly probably doesn't apply to all qualities of PVC railing, but a lot of times you hear about it being a bit squeaky when you're leaning against it or the wind blows or whatever. It's a little bit less durable when the temperatures swing and whatnot, can crack, those kinds of things, right? So it's not, I don't think it's a big, it's not a big category.
Also
of railing.
chalks quite a bit, right?
Could, yeah. Mostly it's typically white. There's other colors you could get, but most commonly it's white. So, I mean, it's fine. It is what it is. You just don't find it as much anywhere as you do the composite and aluminum brands. So, can we have what you guys are drinking, says Eric.
No, it's awful.
We can throw a couple cans into the
You could-
next
you could-
order that you place.
You could plug that. You could plug a local brewery if you wanted.
Okay, so composite railings, like I don't know brand market shares.
Guess
I don't.
not, right?
I didn't hear what you said, but
I said you could plug a local brewery if you wanted, and then you were like,
so these guys,
Sure,
you
plug those
finished
guys.
saying that the two beers that we were drinking
Right, don't
before
plug those guys.
were the
They're not
number
local.
1 and 2 worst beers you've ever drank.
yeah, they're not local. Don't plug those.
Okay, well,
Plug the next guy.
District Brewing, local brewery in Saskatchewan.
Do you think this guy has any idea that this camera's on?
What is your problem?
Why don't you show them the beer? Show them
Because
the
it's a
beer.
podcast.
Well, not for those guys. It's not.
Okay. I'm forgetting about the 7 people that are watching us, I guess. I'm sorry, guys. So,
Okay.
anyways, now that we finally got into the topic, we're butchering it.
So we've discarded PVC rail. That's not a
Sure.
legit option.
Well, let's just talk about the two that are most common and kind of
Boom.
compare them. So
Here we
composite rail, you can get this from all the big brands, right? Just about every brand of decking has a composite rail
Yep.
counterpart. Trex does, TimberTech does, Fibron does. A lot of them do. They're fine. They look great.
That's the thing, man. They look so good.
They're typically very customizable, depending on the line. Some lines are only one color, but like for example, with Trex, you can really mix and match the post color with the picket or the baluster color and the top rail color and bottom rail color and cap color, skirt color. You can change all these things to kind of
The
create
part
whatever one
that's
you want.
really nice about Trex is you could change literally every part, because when you go to order it, you have to order every individual part. Not a single piece of that thing comes with anything else.
Yeah.
You have to remember that it takes 75 components to put that thing together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So fun.
I don't know what TimberTech Garrett's excited about, but he's with 4 exclamation points.
You showed him a beer.
Okay.
Did you hear
Yeah,
the
it's very-
facetiousness in that?
It's very pieced together to put together. It's not bad to install. Like
Not
I'll use
bad to install.
Trex as a reference point because that's the one I'm most familiar with.
Correct.
But they're all similar in a way. But typically with these things, you mount a 4x4 post into the deck. Bryce just shook his head, and I have a strong feeling it's because I said the word mount. And because before this episode started, you said, between him and you, thought that we should fill this episode full of sexual innuendos.
You're just outing us?
And
Actually, I feel like we've done a really great job.
we
so
let
far.
that slide. We didn't actually do it. And the second I said mount 34 minutes in, he was eagerly
That's
waiting.
the third one. right? Like listen to this back to tomorrow. Listen back to this. I've dropped 3 or 4
On purpose?
Yes, and he's like he's like chuckled the whole time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've been out of it.
Yeah, keep going.
You have to understand my blood flow to my brain's a little bit slow today because it's all in the tip of my nose.
The tip of something.
Okay, so composite rail, it's fine to install. It goes on great. The complaint you hear sometimes is that how you used to do this stuff quite a bit was to mount the 4x4 treated post in the framing, and then you put a post sleeve over top, you mount the brackets on top, you drop the rail in, you snap the balusters in or drop the balusters in. And so that's all great and fine. What some guys were experiencing, which is why Stan and those boys were looking for a different solution, was sometimes as those posts dry out, they twist, and then they can force the sleeve to twist with it, which then buckles the joint between the top rail and the sleeve. And suddenly the nice tight joint opens up. And so don't.
What happened now?
So that's a problem.
You have a spread joint? Is that what happened?
So what some guys were doing is they were using cedar was an option. The cedar is a post on the inside,
Absolutely.
less likely to twist up and dry out and change shape.
It stays truer.
Stays truer. Yes.
That's it.
But now they've got another solution they've had for a couple of years, which is a surface mount aluminum post with.
Stan had told us that he was also doing 2 2x4s.
No, he was not. Stan wouldn't do that.
Guy, I was right there.
Okay.
2 2x4s laminated together because the 2x4s weren't twisting as bad as the 4x4.
Sure. Okay.
And so
there's other options.
But
then the companies have also come out with like surface mount metal posts with 2 collars on them, similar to how like a PVC fence goes together.
Yeah.
And then you mount your brackets into those collars, and that post is not going to twist up and move and do what the wood would do. So now it becomes a much more stable system. The knock on that, though, is that those posts are 7 times more, 8 times, 10 times more than a 4x4 wood post.
Do you know how much they are? Have you sold one?
I've quoted them a couple times. Yeah. So
nothing for numbers.
Probably worth it though.
$60 or what?
No, they're like I think they're like $130 Canadian for these things. So versus what, like $4 for a 4-foot chunk at 4x4?
Yeah.
So it's a significant difference in price. Now that said, they do make the install easier because you don't have to block the post into the framing and then deck around and notch everything around the post and everything. Like your framing time is much faster. And if that prevents a callback, you're probably like, that was worth it.
Every
over
penny.
And over again, right? Yeah. So there's options out there for composite rail that can give you a beautiful looking system that you're not going to have those issues with. But that's just some of the common things you hear is like sometimes the post twist, and that's not the railing's fault. It's the lumber's fault, but it happens. So be aware of it. Right?
But it's part of you have to build that into your cost.
Yep. The nice thing is though, there's no doubt about it that no dude about it.
So that happened in my brain?
Yeah, because you're Canadian.
And I was like, I should say that. And
I
don't know that I should.
There's no doubt that it looks nicer. I think there's, versus aluminum, it looks more premium.
Yeah, the post is more substantial. The rail is more substantial. It's
nicer.
It just looks nicer.
A well-installed composite railing looks nicer than most aluminum rails.
I would say that a poorly installed composite rail looks better than a nicely installed aluminum.
Holy, going that far, hey?
Well,
if you oiled the post, it would prevent the drying out, unless it's too wet that you can't oil it.
Yep, that's a treated.
It's soaked full of water, you can't really oil it.
Yep.
But anyways, there's some things you might be able to do to kind of help that slow that process. But that's the problem guys are having. And this isn't coming from slouches. This is coming from like Morris Decks and Stan Level Home Improvements from back in the day. And are you really just going to, you're gone, hey? I've offended you. So, legitimate issue, but the finished product, nothing looks nicer. And you can do the lighting options. Like, I'm talking to you now, Brace, because I got no partner. I'm just going to like look at you and talk at you. You can do your post cap lights. There's different lighting options you can do with these systems. But yeah, they look great. The cost, at least here, is a bit higher than your typical aluminums. So that may be different in the States because it's more well distributed down there. It sells more. Maybe the cost is lower down there and the aluminum is higher. So don't take my word for the price difference because that could be different depending on the market you're in. But up here, aluminum is going to be, and this is Canadian dollars, but $35 to $45 a linear foot for pickets or with the balusters, and the composite rail is more like 70 to 80. So it's definitely a premium. I feel like probably in the States, that's not quite the case. It's likely closer of a number in the States. TimberTech Garrett says, agreed. Composite looks better if you can afford it. Yeah. So and he's in Canada as well. So he's familiar with the price differences in these markets anyway, between aluminum and composite. Now on to aluminum. So the big brands of like composite rail we talked about was like Trex, TimberTech. Those are probably the big two. Firon does some composite railings. There are other brands, like just what every decking brand does it. But onto aluminum. Aluminum, a lot of the manufacturers of aluminum railing are Canadian as well. And I don't know why this seems to be the epicenter of Canadian railing. And a lot of them seem to be out in British Columbia, because there are a lot of these ones that are headquartered. But TimberTech Garrett says that the pricing is closer in the States, as I would think. Yeah. So now aluminum railing, as far as the install goes, I would say beats out composite in just about every way. Every step of the process is just a little bit easier.
Yes.
And it depends a little bit on which brand you're talking about. But for the most part, they're all easier than composite. And a lot of that comes because of the surface mount nature of it, first of all.
Yeah, even if it was fascia mount. Like.
Yes. So aluminum, and these come in all sorts of different colors too. Traditionally, the way these things are put together, because they come with less components, they're kind of more pre-assembled in the way. Like the brackets are welded to the post typically. So your option of changing the top rail color and the post color is maybe a little bit more difficult because the pieces are, you know, so you can change the pickup color sometimes with some brands and it looks okay to do that, but it's tough to be as creative with the coloring on aluminum rail as it is with most composite rails.
Correct.
So, but the nice thing about aluminum is it's easy to install. It's durable. It's going to last forever. It doesn't move and expand and contract like maybe a composite rail would. There's no inner wood post to it. It's just hollow post aluminum. Like it's just stable and easy to install.
It's stable and
long
fast.
lasting and fast. Yeah.
It is so fast, right? And it's getting even faster because, so if you look at probably Regal would be the largest brand, right? That's probably the one that most people know.
Regal in Canada would probably be the biggest, and they're pretty big in the States too. I think Westbury, I think, is pretty big in the States too.
Yeah, but so Regal has they have individual spacers that snap onto the rail in between their pickets or balusters, right?
Yeah.
I think in Canada we use that pretty much interchangeably, pickets.
Yes.
Versus balusters.
Yeah.
So now they have systems that are like a pre-welded, pre-assembled panel.
Game changer.
This is not now it's not even freaking close how fast you can put railing together.
That was super Canadian too.
Freaking
close.
It's not even freaking close.
I agree with you. The what am I trying to say?
Doesn't matter.
Invention.
Nobody's listening.
The appearance, the introduction of welded or at least pre-assembled panels in the aluminum rail space took the system from being like easier to install and faster to ridiculously fast to install.
It's at least a third of the time.
Over composite?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
30.
Statistician? Yeah,
right?
He says that's close enough to pass. Margin of error.
Remember, it's a third faster. That's like almost 30%.
Yeah.
No, it's like 33. Remember when we were traveling? We went through the airport and the one girl was like,
yeah.
What was that? What did she say? There was like,
I don't know, but I hope you tell it fast.
Come on, I can't tell it fast because I don't remember. There was the three of us. There was myself, you, and Justin.
I think we've told the story before.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell it? I remember it.
Just to the percentage base would be fine. Just nail the percentages.
Well, that's not a story.
Yeah?
No, you can't just say it, but then the one time 75% was 66%.
That's 66%.
It's not a great story.
That was the best part.
Now you forced me into telling this damn story because you went on the mic and put 6 people to sleep on this thing, and now I got to wake them back up by telling the story and making it more exciting than it even is of a story.
And then
so we're at an airport.
Like at least 66%.
We're on the way down to Deck Expo.
No, that's not.
We're on the way down to Deck Expo. You, me, and Justin.
She didn't say it was.
And we're sitting at a restaurant in the airport in Toronto, I believe it was. And this, oh boy, I got 75% politically correct here, but this nice-looking blonde girl
was a girl
with some enhancements.
She was a stripper.
She rolled up and because we were sitting at one of the high top tables, and it's like crowded restaurant bar, everybody sits at the same table. She's like, "Can I sit down with you guys?" And we're like, yeah, sure, sit down." She sits down, and like, she has more plastic in her than the average deck board. And she sits down and she's making small talk. She was from Canada. She moved to Vegas. We didn't ask what she does in Vegas. Probably not too far of a stretch.
She was an actress.
Sure. So anyway, she's chatting away and she asks our names, and Wade says Wade, Justin says Justin, and I say Shane. Fast forward a minute or two into the conversation, and she's like, "Shoot, I can't. What are your names again? Oh, right, Wade and Jason and Shane." And we're like, "Oh yeah, so close. Like you got 2 out of 3." And she's like, we said, "Oh, so close. You're 66%." She's like, "No, I think it's more like 75%. Come on, give me credit." And we're like, "What?" So none of us said anything. We just let it happen because we're like, "There's no you're not. We don't have time to explain the math behind this." But then we realized later, as we were walking away, I said, "Hold on, boys. Hold on. I don't know what's dumber here." That she didn't know that 2 out of 3 was not 75%, or that she may have included her own name in her game of guessing names at the table. She may have counted herself. Like, yay me, remember my own name. The irony of that.
Then she's right.
She probably didn't use her real name. She may have guessed her name and only been partially right.
You don't know.
Figure that percentage out. Oh, come on. Her name was Bambi. Get real.
On the crazy hot Matrix, you wouldn't date her.
Yeah. Anyway,
The girl's name is Tiffany. Have you seen the crazy hot Matrix? YouTube that tonight. When you get home, YouTube.
So this feels like a good segue into the category of railing called topless glass.
Sure. Yep. No, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
no, for real. Yeah,
that's not where I was going, though. That's where I was going.
Do that.
Okay, so aluminum. Great. Big brands aluminum. In Canadian brands would be like Regal Ideas. We talked about as the big ones. Century Rail. There's ProBuilt. There's Excel. There's Star Rail.
ProBuilt's changed its name. They're Vista.
Whatever they want to call. I don't know. There's a bunch of different Canadian brands of aluminum rail. In the USA, you've got Fortress. You've got Westbury. You've got a couple others that are escaping me. But regardless, they're all similar systems.
Like Ultralux does a lot of stuff down in the USA.
Sure.
Right?
And so it's available. Like some brand of it will be available. If you can get your hands on a welded panel system or a pre-assembled system.
Yeah, because Ultralux isn't
Have
welded,
a look at it. It's amazing.
Ultralux is a crimped system.
Yeah. Fortress is a good one to look at because I know it's made, I believe, in Texas, and it does have distribution throughout Canada as well. So you can get it in Canada. You can most likely get it in the States as well. Now, they've got a lot of different lines. What we've become gigantic fans of is the Fortress AL13 Home line. They've got their AL13 line and their AL13 Home line. The Home line, they use the same posts. The posts are exactly the same. 3-inch posts, nice thick walls on them, but the panels in between are different. So the AL13 is more, it is welded. It's a complete welded system. It's a big, beefy thing. Yep. And the Home line is a lighter duty, thinner gauge metal, crimped together.
And it's also smaller. Like the pickets are smaller.
They're a little
bit
smaller.
Top rail is narrower.
Yeah, I think you go from a 3/4 picket to a 5/8
correct
square picket.
Why can't they do AL13 with the, like, change the bracket that goes on the home post? Nobody wants AL home. Well, they do for the price.
Sure they do. That's a great system.
But it turns out the price isn't that much different anymore. So then...
But it would be different than the AL13 line.
So get rid of...
15% less.
Yeah, but like... So AL home at the same price as Regal or Century isn't different enough that I'm interested in selling it. Not that I'm not interested in selling it. It's like... But if it's premium, make it premium. So do AL13, not AL13 home. Do AL13
and get to your goddamn point already.
Put the brackets on the post and sell it at a premium. It's okay that it's a premium product. Sell it as a
problem. That was the problem with Fortress AL13. We carried it for a few years. It's a great system. Like when that thing's done and installed correctly, it's amazing.
It looks beautiful.
It is so strong. And it's just like, and it's a great looking system. It's only available in black and white. That's the knock.
Is that a knock?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because if you want something like, if you want something other than black and white.
You're a numbers guy. What are the sales numbers on our railing? What do we sell?
Like 65, 70% of it's black and white.
So then 75% of the time, people want black and white. I feel like I set you up for that one.
But
I'm going to take a drink.
I was going to take it, but you beat me to it. Like, you set it up and hit it, and I didn't have a chance. But there's no doubt that we still sell quite a bit of brown railing and some gray railing here and there. Like, people want some other color options. But anyway, the problem with the AL13 line was that the brackets were not pre-mounted on the post. You had to mount them on there.
That was awful.
And they went on with machine screws, and because the panel was welded, there was zero forgiveness to that.
This was my favorite line I've ever heard from any contractor. They said to me, if it is a machine screw, it should be installed by a machine.
That was me that said that.
Yep.
And then you print it and you put it on the wall.
Arguably the smartest person I've ever met in my life.
But for a contractor, let alone a DIY guy, to drill the holes accurately enough with those machine screws to get that bracket to mount there perfectly square in the exact spot it had to be within a 16th of an inch.
It can't be done.
It's just really, really nearly impossible. And so then your caps don't snap over top of the rail properly because the panel's not sitting there perfectly. It's just like any of the speed that you made by having a welded panel was erased and then some by having to mount the brackets on all the posts.
Yeah.
Worst part. Absolutely the worst part.
Yeah.
So
your time's not
enough
saved.
people complained.
Your time's not saved, right?
No, it wasn't. It didn't end up being any faster. It ended up being slower. Our contractors installed it. Were like, we need to charge more to put that in because I have to spend a day in my garage mounting brackets on the posts.
Yeah. Some called it their shop. Some called it the garage. So.
Yeah. So anyways, that was the knock. So thankfully, Fortress comes out with the home system. And we said for years, we're like, you guys, just put the brackets on the post. Oh, dealers don't want to carry the extra SKUs.
Don't worry
about it. No,
the
I'm telling you, they do.
Well, don't worry about the dealer. Even if they do, who buys your product?
What does the installer want?
No, the homeowner. Well,
Who's the installer?
Yeah. Whoever installs
the homeowner doesn't care if they're not installing it.
Yeah.
They don't care how much Myco in the back.
This is true. Back in the day when we were selling more DIY, right?
Yeah. So anyways, they come out with the L13 Home. It uses the exact same post, which is cool.
Because it's a great post.
A little bit lighter duty panel, but pre-assembled again. And now the brackets are on the post. They're pre-mounted, not welded on, but pre-mounted. The machine screws are put on the machine.
Could you imagine?
So fast.
And then the bracket snaps over top.
Yeah.
So now you can fix your post solid to the deck, plumb and level, and then cut your panel and drop it in, snap, bang, done.
Yeah.
Out of there.
So the three ways that these aluminum rail systems work is you can either have a completely component breakdown system, which is what Regal is.
Yeah.
Right? Regal's got their urban rail, which is actually a pre-assembled panel as well. But the standard Regal rail.
I don't think anybody knows that one that well, right?
No. The standard Regal rail that you're going to find in places it's like a packed down system. It's like you buy a bundle of pickets and you buy your top rail and you buy your posts and you buy your brackets and whatever.
Should we
snap it all together?
Should we talk about different things we'd like to change about that stuff?
Oh, that could be a long episode right there. With Regal?
No, just quick little changes. Okay, so Regal, they sell their pickets and the spacers go with the pickets in Regal.
What does that mean?
And Century, you have 10 minutes of lives over, or the battery's going to die.
All the batteries in the camera are going to die. Well, can you change one out at a time? Yeah. And then switch things? Okay.
Regal.
Can you believe this guy comes in here and imposes time limits on us?
It's unbelievable. We should pay him. Things would change. If we paid him, things would change. Regal sells the spacers with the pickets.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
You were complaining. Well, what do you want it to come with? The rails?
The rail. Yeah. Because if you're going to change the color of your pickets, if you're going to sell a rail, top and bottom rail, that's white, and you want to do black pickets, why would the spacers come with the pickets?
Because they use the same top rail for these stairs as they do for their horizontal pieces, and your pickets are different for those applications, and so are your spacers, and so they bundle the two that are different together because then what do you do?
They have a good argument, right? So then you do what Century does, and Century has different rails for different applications. You have a horizontal rail and you have a vertical, or you have a stair rail, right?
Yep.
So
So Century takes it one step further. It's not completely knocked down. It's like
so tough.
the bottom rail is pre-punched with the holes for the pickets. So there's no spacers down there. That's a nice progression. That's a little bit better
Because it's neater and cleaner.
It just looks way cleaner and takes less time because there's no spacers down there. But then Century came out with the pre-assembled panels. Game changer right there. But Century has the brackets pre-welded on the post, which is a good thing. But they're sleeves. They're not U channels like U brackets.
Yeah.
They're a sleeve. So you have to kind of partially mount your post, but leave it loose enough that you can pull it side to side to be able to get your panel to slide in.
So Regal has that?
Has what?
The posts that are like the brackets that are mounted on the post.
Yes.
And they're not drop in, they're sleeves.
Right.
So
Same
now
thing.
you're like,
So the pre-assembled panel is one step better.
You half mount your post with Regal.
Yep.
You half mount your post with Century.
Correct.
And then, go ahead. I was talking about Regal at the same time. You were talking about Century, and I was like, well, this is a good time to talk about Regal too.
I thought we did.
No.
Oh.
I was only talking about the thing I didn't like about Regal's pickets and
So
spacers.
one step better is the pre-assembled panel, but like a sleeve style post, because you can just mount your post, but you got to leave them loose before you can plumb them up and bolt them down permanently. But you slide the panel in, and that part's way quicker at least. There's no assembling pickets and spacers.
Yeah.
Fortress Home has gone another step further to where you can mount your post perfect and plumb now, no leaving it loose to give wiggle room, because you drop the panel down into the brackets and then snap the caps on. It's for sure the quickest and cleanest. The other thing is they for that system, they now have what's called a simplified stair system.
Yes.
Which is amazing, because the trickiest part of these things all the time is the stair rail. How high do I mount the brackets? How high should the top bracket be from the bottom bracket? What's my pitch on my stairs here? Because I need to know how much to rack it. All this stuff, whatever, right? It's confusing for people. But the simplified stair panel, you mount your brackets. It comes with a template in the bracket pack. You put it on the post. You drill your spots. You mount your brackets. You take a measurement between the brackets on the top rail.
Yes.
You put your panel on the ground, squared, and you just mark it and cut it, however long the gap was. And they've made their brackets account for the racking or the skewed nature of that. The brackets make up the difference in the cut. So you can cut your panel square, which is vastly better than the Fortress AL13 one.
Good word.
And the cool thing about those Fortress panels is that even the stair ones are pre-assembled.
Yes.
And they're hinged. So you just rack it to the pitch that you need. And in Fortress AL13 Home, again, you drop it in,
34
put the caps on.
34.7, which is my favorite angle.
So good. Like,
It turns out
it's my favorite one to install for sure.
It turns out this is a Fortress rail.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Okay.
I still like the other ones. I'm just saying that as far as speed of install, there's no question that the Fortress AL13 is faster.
Here we go.
Fortress also does iron rail and everything else.
Can we now go back to my big brand aluminum awareness comment that I made earlier?
Yes. Hold on here.
Live video is ending. So let's share this.
Do this here. Oh yeah, next. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's ending soon.
So continue your thought.
Should I just wait?
Well, I don't.
It's awkward for the
know.
people that are listening. It's awkward.
Yeah. So
right?
keep talking. I'm doing technical stuff. I can't post it here. I don't care. No, we're not doing that.
Okay.
Go ahead. Keep
so going. The reason I want this to be live is because I want Garrett to hear it. I want this stuff to go back to the people.
Okay. So here, we're firing up the live again.
Fine.
But so to finish off the Fortress, and they make other rails too. They do make an iron rail. The FE26 is an iron option too.
Yep.
Not as widely available in Canada, but it is available down in the States.
Nearly
if you need
impossible
some
to
sort
get
of welded
Canada.
iron rail,
Yep.
they've got that solution too. And they've got glass rails. They got a lot of different stuff. Cable rail, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Is TimberTech Garrett in here?
TimberTech Garrett is back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's basically the only
So he's probably already learned our position on the brackets not being mounted, because TimberTech's new Expressions rail, is that what it's called?
Yep.
The aluminum rail doesn't have the brackets mounted either. And that was our biggest pushback when they came in. They're like, it's great because the brackets are mounted. We're like, we actually dropped an entire brand because of that reason, or an entire line because of that reason.
That's right.
So anyways,
Okay.
you can continue on.
So here we go. Timber, we go to big brand aluminum awareness. And so when you and I
I see where you might be going with this now.
You and I talk about when you're trying to achieve something, when you're trying to
Clean your pores.
be the best in the market, what you need to do is you need to pay attention to the market that you're in, not you internally, not your company. And so like Trex and TimberTech both came out with aluminum railing, and I feel like they just slightly missed the mark. And I think that what they did was they looked introspectively. They were like, oh, what we've done for railing is significantly better than the product we're making as composite rail.
They compared against their own composite rail product.
But it's like, guys, you're not making as good a rail as exists for aluminum. Pay attention to what the aluminum market is. Fortress Aluminum is absolutely killing it. Make your railing like their railing.
Yeah.
Don't make it better than the stuff that... And so the part that's really tricky is that they would not believe that their composite rail was not that good.
Regal Ideas Ken is in. He missed the Regal part. But anyway.
But you know what I mean? Like, so they're not going to know that their composite railing sales aren't that strong, because when they look at it nationally or internationally, they sell a metric whale ton of composite rail in the US and not a lot of aluminum, because they're like, it's a composite market. Right. And so when they launch aluminum, it actually isn't going to take off because that's the market they're in. They're trying to push aluminum into a composite market.
Okay.
But what they should do is they should look to find the best aluminum system available, and their contractors, their guys would change in a heartbeat.
Yep.
I don't know of a single contractor that you could talk to and be like, listen, you could sell this to your customers, same price, third of the time install. That a contractor would be like, nah.
I'm sorry, but right behind you as you're speaking, Bryce wrote on the whiteboard with a permanent marker and just went to go erase it, and no go.
Uh-oh.
That's a good whiteboard, too.
It's over.
Hey, can't you write over top of a permanent marker with a dry erase marker and it takes it off? Let's see this. Let's see if this proves out.
Okay, so that was it. That was my story.
It works.
My story was
It works.
Lots of these guys, lots of the big brands, the big composite guys are now launching aluminum rail, and they're just watching the wrong stuff. They're watching themselves, and they need to be watching outside. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Fortress. Fortress is
Yeah, I think. Well, I know when our distributor sent out the buy sheets for, I can't believe that worked. It worked really well, actually. When the sell sheets came out for the new TimberTech rail, I remember the headline being
bad for Garrett
because
he was so
only
new.
3 SKUs to stock, whatever. And it's like, that was the sell point for the dealers. Like, there's not many SKUs. This is easy to get into from the dealer's perspective. And the part I had problem with that was like, this doesn't add up. How is there only 3 SKUs? There's only 3 SKUs if the brackets come with the top rails and they don't come with they're not on the posts. Yep. Dug a little bit deeper, brackets aren't on the posts, sure enough. And right there, I was like,
no deal.
Well, it's over.
Out.
And so I know that they were excited to launch that product. And it's fine if you're coming from a bunch of contractors that were using composite rail, like TimberTech Radiance rail or whatever, and they were used to mounting the brackets already. They don't know any better. But you're not going to convert many guys from, Bryce, you're yanking our thing across here. You're not going to convert any guys that are using Fortress to go back to mounting the brackets again, because that's why they left and went to the Fortress home in the first place, was to stop mounting the brackets.
That's right. It's just like, yeah. So the big brand awareness is like, you're a big brand. And the part that sucks about when you get that big is that then it's like, well, I'm so big. Everybody just buys TimberTech because they buy TimberTech, or they buy Trex because they buy Trex. And it's like, no, you can still be innovative, man. Like, go ahead and find the best aluminum railing maker, period, and then make yours like theirs. And you'll be like, and you'll take off. You'll take the market share because you have the name, and then you also have the best railing install. So,
okay. So TimberTech Garrett's in here. He's like, so you're not going to be buying our rail then?
No.
So
he already knew that.
Yeah. But we were open and upfront in the first place. It was like, listen, those brackets, at least for our purposes need to be mounted on the post. We've been through this song and dance before with mounting on the post. It's a pain point for the guys actually installing it. And I know this might be crazy, but we actually care about the people that are putting this stuff in. I don't care how many SKUs it is to put in the rack in my inventory. And I get that probably 95% of dealers do care about that a lot. Dude, but I care about, like, if it doesn't sell, who cares how much space it doesn't take up? If guys don't like putting it in, then it doesn't sell, then it's like, then whatever. I'd rather have 12 square feet of space dedicated to something that sells than 9 square feet of space dedicated to something that doesn't.
Dead.
So
don't talk to the contractors. You know what I mean? Like, that's a...
No, talk to the contractors.
Okay, so contractors or DIY. Yeah, I guess I'm in my head. This is where we differ, and I think that's good for us because I always think of DIY. Right? It's like, what does Bill, who's on the weekend putting a deck together, what does he want? He wants the easiest deck to install.
Yeah, but Bill's going to do it once and he doesn't know what the other options are. He's never installed aluminum railing. He doesn't know that, like, oh, these brackets will be way better mounted because he's never used a different system before.
But he'll also pay
he's doing
a little
it
bit more.
He's one and done.
No, that's not true. We sold Bill.
He doesn't pay any more to TimberTech.
Yeah.
He pays that's the same price. The contractor is going to put that railing in 300 times in the next couple of years.
Okay.
So it's just got to be a simple install no matter who's doing it. Like, if it's DIY friendly, then it's clearly contractor friendly as well.
That's right. Don't skip the dealer, but the dealers, I don't know, man. I feel bad for like reps like Garrett and Rob and those guys. They got to go to a box store and they got to try and convince a box store to carry their product, man. That's awful. Because the box stores are the ones that don't want to add SKUs. They hate that stuff.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But
yeah, if you're catering to that, then that might be a thing.
Well, and that's who they are.
But
right?
yet they stock the ones that do have a bunch of SKUs though. They stock Regal,
Railblazers, and whatever.
Yeah,
anyways,
it happens.
Okay.
So let's get off the types of holy smokes. I thought this would be a 30-minute episode.
Vista for the win. Pound sand, Mike.
Infills.
Their stair system is great.
The stair system's okay. I don't think it looks that great. It's quick and easy to install. The rest of the system is whatever.
It's like Regal. It's all component. I don't like that at all.
Yeah. So
I'd way rather put welded in.
Infill options.
Fortress.
So infill options can be a variety of things. Most commonly pickets or balusters, whatever you want to call them in your area. Glass inserts are a big thing. Those are the two most common. It's to have pickets in your top and bottom rail or glass in your top and bottom rail.
Yep.
Then you've also now got options such as cable or topless glasses and have the top rail. Different things you can do within that. There's other weird product, like not weird, but like more specialized products out there that you can use as infills. But these are kind of the big ones. And I would these are the 4 big ones I would say. So in order of cost, you're going to talk like picket rail is always the lowest cost, followed by the glass option that goes into that.
Yep.
Followed probably by cable railing, and then with the topless glass systems.
Yep.
And they'd be close in price, but I think the topless glass is usually a little bit more because you have to use that thick
The one I did today.
half-inch glass.
Yeah, the one I did today,
glass.
that cable came in at like 120 a foot. So
Yeah, that's where it usually is, right? That
exchange
kinda
rate. I might
100,
have
120 a
I
foot.
lied to that guy. I told him it was like 110, and then when we actually crunched the numbers, we got it. It was like 120.
That's close. I always tell people it's about 110, but it varies vastly on your cable run lengths. It could be 150 and it could be 80.
Yeah.
It's just like 110 is the average. So pickets quick and easy. Glass, the concern there sometimes from people is like, I don't want to clean it. I don't find that glass ever really gets so dirty that you feel the need to clean it. Maybe here and there. And if you're on a farm road with a dusty dirt road or something like that. But
my one aunt, and so this is a personal preference. If you're the kind of person that, like, I don't want to call her a narcissist, but there are people that are narcissistic about
But just did.
how much dust is on glass. Like,
Yeah.
man, she lost sleep over the idea of having clean glass.
Right. And so that's what I tell people too. I'm like, if you're kind of OCD about these kinds of things and you find yourself outside squeegeeing your house windows, then
Don't do
you're
glass.
going to want to squeegee your deck windows too.
Yeah.
But if you're never bothered by the fact that there's some dust and like rain spots on your outside house windows, then you're probably not going to care about the glass on the, like, that's the thing. Like some people come like, I don't want to worry about cleaning it. It's like, do you clean all your house windows all the time? Well, no.
Then you'll be fine.
Well, then what are you worried about?
Red and I have topless glass that faces a park, and I I've cleaned it once. We've lived there for 7 years.
Yeah.
But it's because it doesn't bother me, and I know that. It's
a
like,
good
it's
rain will wash most of it away. Right?
Yeah.
It washes the dust and pollen off. If you've got little kids with peanut butter fingers and dog noses and stuff, you might have to go out there and wipe it down once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then cable rail is kind of the next price option. What do we got here for comments? Colin True Builder says, then there's crystal rail for the top price, but the cleanest high-end look. And Eric Teru says, would a coat of car wax on glass help them to stay clean? So yes, I've heard of people using Rain-X on your glass.
Rain-X,
that helps. For sure it does. And crystal rail we'll get to in a minute because that's in the topless category. But cable infills are very common, and you can use them in any system. It could be a wood railing system, it could be an aluminum railing system, it could be composite railing system. It's not, this is just, for the most part, cable is sold as an infill option only. You can get full kits, but you can also, with most brands, just buy the parts and put them into whatever system you want. So, and they're awesome. Like, it's been available in the States forever. It's only been allowed to be in Canada for the last few years, 3-4 years. And so, but it's picking up steam. People are loving it and using it. It is a little bit more of a premium option because it's all stainless steel, so it costs a little bit more.
What sucks about this cable is that it's still so regional, right? So the Canadian building code approves it here, and then regionally you have to like get it past your own building guy.
Yeah, that adoption went in, but it's always up to the municipality or the region or whatever you want to call it to then accept the code change in their region.
What a pain in the butt that is.
Yeah, and so like Saskatchewan of all places was fairly on top of that and got in on it really quickly. But there's still places in Canada that the inspectors won't allow it.
Yeah.
So
I feel like Calgary's having a tough time getting that through, right?
Yeah.
Calgary and Toronto.
But it's a great option. It's giving you the view, like the non-obstructed view, because the cables are 1/8 inch, maybe 3/16, depending on the brand you go with. But they are thin enough that you don't really notice that they're there. There's no glass to clean. It's just a nice industrial yet modern look. And so I think it's good. Dunning & Decking doesn't like it. It says yuck.
Yeah, but
you know why he doesn't like it? Because he's Australian, and that whole place is a bunch of inmates. And being behind cables and bars is not your ideal home.
That's
makes him a little bit nervous. Calgary's still a no-go, says TimberTech, so that's exactly what we mean. Saskatchewan, fine. Garbage. One province over, not fine.
Garrett, you need to find a contractor that's willing to fight that because, like, the Canadian code has approved it, and it's passed. And so it's just somebody to, like... you just need somebody to fight that. That's all.
So great option. Different look. Very cool look. Customizable. You can put different top rails on and stuff. I think it's cool.
Cable.
Last one we'll talk about is topless glass rails. So we talked about glass earlier, but the glass we were talking about earlier was the type of system that still has the bottom rail the glass sits into and the top rail that covers the top edge of the glass. And because it's a framed system, you got posts on the side, top rail, bottom rail, the glass only needs to be 5-6 mil thick. It doesn't need to be super thick because it's framed in.
How much did you say?
5 mil, 6 mil thick.
Oh, yeah. 5 mil.
What is that? 3/16 quarter inch thick glass?
Yeah. Half is 12.
12. Yeah. So 6 would be quarter.
Give or take.
So yeah, you can do that. It's fairly cost effective to do that if you're going to do it in clear glass. Gives you the view, like we just mentioned. Some people would be pretty anal about wanting to keep that clean. Use some Rain-X, that'll help. Funny story, we had a customer one time.
Wicked fast install.
Oh yeah, it goes in the rails fast. Most systems.
So if you're talking about doing a Regal,
use a lock and load system. I made that up.
Made it up. You can go ahead, Ken. You can put that on the brochure. So if you're talking about Regal rail picket and the speed of install with that, and everybody knocks it because it's so component based, their like glass system that's really fast, like really fast.
Yeah, you mount your top and bottom rail in there, and then with pickets, you'd be then starting to snap pickets and spacers in and blah, blah, blah. But the panel, you just lift, like you put little rubber blocks in the bottom for the rail to sit on, the glass sit on, but you just slide it up into the top rail and drop it into the bottom, and you're done.
Cold weather, little dish soap.
Pretty great. Yeah, if you're ever having trouble getting into the gasket, dish soap is the trick to that, right?
Just a little bit of lube, and then away you go.
There you go. Can you please ask the girl from the airport to host the topless rail segment? I
hope I never see her again.
I'll be honest, I didn't ever plan to have to reach out to her, so I didn't get her number. topless glass. Now, topless glass is a very common thing, especially in scenic areas. So if you're living in the mountains or you got like backing a park or whatever, people love the
That
topless
guy's
glass
been here
options.
for the whole show. That's
Yeah.
it's like the funniest jokes are the ones that were like they built early and then ended late. Those that end
Yeah.
late funny.
Well, I
those
think
are-
he posted that earlier, and I mean, I saw it, but we didn't go to it, and then so he brought it back up. No, guys, I had a joke. I had a joke over here. So on to topless rail systems. Now, there's a few topless rail systems that there's a bunch that are similar, and there's a couple that have set themselves apart. I'll say that.
Sure.
So what's common is something like Century Scenic Rail or Star Rail pup posts or Excel Rail, like all these ones where there's a post with a gasket on the side of the post that the panel goes into. No top rail, no bottom rail. You got to use 10 or 12 mil thick glass.
Yeah.
That's basically what the system is.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them, couple out there that are like,
feel like-
they're unique.
Who's
And I'm
the
leaving the best for last.
who's the there's a stainless steel pod that's like 18 inches high. It's like squared off in the top. We order them through is Besdan maybe, right? Besdan has some.
Besson has them. Invisirail makes those too.
Yeah. Okay.
So one of the ones I was going to talk about was Invisirail. So Invisirail's got those little not pods. What's the name I don't use for them? I can't remember. Illuminated balustrade will get me on this because they use them as well. But anyways, the glass holders at the bottom. So that's an option. Invisirail though has the other option too, which is cool, which is a stainless steel post that is thin, but it's like thick.
It's like 3/4 of an inch thin.
So that's all you see when you're on the deck is the 3/4 inch side. The other way it's wide.
but it's like
But
3
it's like
inches deep.
It's a plate post.
It's a spigot.
Essentially, spigots. That's what I was looking
All
for.
day long. It's a spigot.
So it's like a plate. It's like a plate of stainless steel that's been cut. And so the post from the one angle is very thin. It's like when Bryce turns sideways, you can barely see him. And then he turns the other way and there's lots of them. That's what the Invisirail posts are like. And then they have glass clamps that hold the glass. Very cool system.
Did you use that suction cup on your eyeballs too?
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't. So Invisirail is a good one to look at. Very, very clean view.
Yes.
You're going to retain a lot of your view.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yep.
We got to mention illuminated balustrade in here. Just 'cause he's in here. It wasn't on my list, but he's here and he's been here for a couple shows.
He's like 6 podcasts in trying to get a shout out.
So illuminated balustrade out of Australia has the spigots that mount on the ground with the LED light in them.
Like they're cool.
They're cool.
Like, yeah,
So
they're as cool as it comes.
wasn't the first to do that, inspired by what I was going to mention here as the coolest system out there. Regal Ideas Crystal Rail. And Colin Truebuilders brought this up before. Yeah, it was him. He's like, Crystal Rail. Crystal Rail it won awards for being like best new product in IBS in 2018?
Yeah, 2 years ago, yeah.
And that's incredible to win that award at that show. That
Yes.
show has 100,000 people go through it. There is $1 trillion spent at that show on booths and whatever
Yeah.
else. Everybody in the construction industry is there, and they won best in show for like best new product.
Yeah. And
So-
and they should have.
Yeah, very, very innovative solution. It's very cool. The first time we saw it actually wasn't even IBS. It was at a local WRLA show we saw it, I think, the first time, right?
Correct.
Western Canadian show.
It was the soft launch in Calgary.
And Paul LaFrance was there, actually,
yeah.
pumping it, because Paul was involved in the making of that pod.
I have his number in my phone.
I
if
bet
wanna
you do.
call him.
So he, I texted him today. Did you?
No, you didn't.
I did. Actually, no, I texted him the other day. He replied today. Correction.
Busy.
The Crystal Rail system is these pods. And JJ's mad. Everybody's going to name drop Paul LaFrance now.
I'm at him.
Was anybody in the IG when he was on here? How did we get back up to 13 people through this rambling mess? So the Crystal Rail system are these like cast aluminum pods. And I'll be honest, from day one, I've never been a huge fan of the look of the pods. I'm still not. I think they could be better looking. However,
they look like spaceships, man.
they look like dinosaur eggs, like spaceship, like eggs. Half an egg sitting in your thing. They're egg shaped with a round disc, like plate cover at the bottom.
So
I'm not a huge fan of the.
JJ and I were at WRLA when they launched those, and I don't think you were there that year. I was taking
Yeah,
pictures.
it was because it
and
was
send
a first one. It was the first WRLA we were at. Yep.
We did
Paul
that
was there.
together.
Yeah, and then you went with JJ the next year, and Paul was there again.
Oh, I see.
But yeah,
So same reaction, I guess, between JJ and you and I. Like all of us felt the same way. We saw the egg, and it was just like,
why does it have to look
why
like
is that
spaceship?
square?
Yeah.
Square
So
that
the
off.
reason we've always been given is that they've gone through a massive amount of engineering to make those things strong enough to do it. And the shape of that thing adds to the strength in some capacity. Squaring them off wasn't as strong. I don't know what the reason was, but that's the reason they've been feeding.
Here we go. Ken just told
Here
you.
we are. We are selling a lot of crystal rail as more people see it. We call the pods mounts. The reason for the look is engineering. Yeah, see, that's the response you get from them when you ask about why. It's like, it's engineering.
We were already there, Ken.
Yeah, that was Ken from Regal Ideas, who's a Regal Idea rep, so he would know. Colin True Builder says more colors in the pods would be great too. And I thought that was happening, and I'm sure it will at some point. But I thought that was happening. The reason I thought that was happening was because it was only ever coming out in what they call that satin aluminum finish.
Yep.
The pod, what's the mounts, the pods, whatever you want to call it. What's the name for it? CRHS?
SA.
No. So crystal rail horizontal mount. CRHM?
No. Crystal rail horizontal. SA.
Nothing.
Satin
And then
aluminum.
Dash. Okay, but here's my point. When they first came out the first year, it didn't say SA at the end. It was just CR,
H.
whatever you said. H.
CRH.
Horizontal
Horizontal.
and then CRS
for
the
the
stereo.
stairs. Yeah.
Didn't have a color code. Then one day,
Dash SA.
Dr. Dex went and spray painted some of them black, mounted it on a home show display of his, and then the next order, or like whatever, a few
Because
orders
you know
later,
you're a boss when you spray something black.
yeah, the next order we got from Regal. All of a sudden there was color codes on it. It was CRH-SA. Now it said satin aluminum. Never used to, and I was like, oh, here it comes. They're going to release another color. That's why the color code's in there. But it never happened. So there's still only satin aluminum.
in
Ken,
here.
when are you going to release another color of those things? Is there going to be a black one?
Oh,
Is there going to be?
It's coming out black.
What else
for
would you
sure.
even do? Black?
Black.
White?
No, what? No, white.
God, that would
No,
be
no, no.
atrocious
It wouldn't-
looking.
That'd be awful. Do black and that's
I
it.
don't even know that black would be that popular, to be honest.
I think it would be.
But what they could have done, and we've talked about this before, what they could do is release covers for the pods. Like, sure, if they have to be that round shape, have some sort of snap-on cover that
yeah.
changes the look of the pod.
Sure,
Like
do
makes it
a
look just like a square cube or something.
squared off
like
black
a
one.
cube thing would look kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right? So they could they could keep the integrity of the pod, sell like a snap-on cover that makes it look a little bit more modern, less spacey.
Yep.
That could be something. So you can take that back. Yard Bronze calling from True Builders suggesting so that could work.
What does Ken say? Copper is.
For the love of God, what did you just draw on the whiteboard?
What does Ken say?
Ken says copper is a color that they are getting sprayed often. So I guess you can get them custom sprayed. Is what that might be
Lakeside
suggesting.
copper. And they're to Colin's point.
Yeah. So, anyways, super cool system. We haven't even got to the best part. The reason it's so cool. So these two pods per panel, they hold this 12 mil glass, 10 mil glass.
Oh,
Either, I
that
think.
got me there. I think it's 10.
But
I think their stock is 10.
yeah, okay. So thick glass, and they're using what our special order calls Starfire or low, what do they call it? Low iron glass. So it's super clear glass. It's got less imperfections in it than regular glass does. So it's made extra clear to allow light to pass through it without being refracted kind of in the middle of the panel.
Yeah, it's supposed to hit off the edges.
And so 10 mil is the stock color or stock size. At the bottom of the pod, Wade, is a light.
Bam!
Lightsaber.
Like, I didn't know that because I haven't watched Star Wars.
So in the bottom of the pod where the glass sits on
none of them.
LED
Not a single
lights.
episode.
You turn this,
Not
so they're
even
built in.
half an hour
You don't
of
have to
one
buy them.
episode.
Are you done?
Bryce and I
No
are
Star Wars happening.
ever. Bryce and I are having our own
Like,
conversation.
this will maybe weird you out, but I haven't really watched it either.
Yeah, because have you watched them all? Yeah, I've watched them all. Have you watched any of them?
I believe I watched one like way
I
back.
could
when.
not get into it. I was just like,
I
this
don't get it
shit's
either, to
not
be
for
honest.
me.
But anyways, these
I could watch
pods,
11
Star
hours of
Wars
hockey
as they are,
straight.
they have the lights built into the bottom of the pod that shines into the glass of the panel. So the glass actually sits on the LEDs. At nighttime, this thing glows, and because of the super clear glass, very little of the light gets like dispersed or refracted in the middle of the panel. Instead, it goes to the edges of the panel.
Yeah.
Does its dance out there.
Yeah.
Glows the edge of the panel.
Yeah.
Tron all day long.
Tron. So?
It looks like Tron glass.
Also not familiar with that show, but have heard of it.
I have not watched it either, but I know the what do you want to call it? The graphical style of
I saw the
Tron is
graphic.
like neon edges of everything glows. That's what Crystal Rail does.
Yep.
It's the most beautiful looking rail system out there.
Yep.
So then what Illuminated Balustrade has done from Australia is they've made the spigot look better. They've gone to that, like, not the egg-shaped thing. They've just have a traditional spigot with a light in the bottom. I don't know if this is for sure, but the pictures I've seen doesn't look like it casts as much light through the panel, but it's a whiter light, whereas the Regal system, Chris Rail, kind of casts a greenish blue light a little bit. But I've heard that they've changed the color of the light a little bit, so maybe it's a little bit more clear now. But anyways, if you haven't seen it before, Google it. The really cool thing too, though, is that for a system that is as beautiful and awe-inspiring as Crystal Rail, the install on it is fairly simple. Like, you'd expect something that needed that much strength and engineering to maybe take a bit of effort, but it's actually quite simple to install. It's just, you gotta have a pretty heavy duty amount of blocking beneath the deck, but essentially it's 4 bolts to hold down each pod, and the lights just kind of plug and play, and you put the panel in with these little gasket covered steel wedges that kind of hold the plate in, take an Allen key out, crank the glass in. It's got built-in engineering, I suppose, to allow leveling of the glass and pitch of the glass or whatever, just with Allen keys. So the install on it is really good too. The only knock against it was that in order to change out the LEDs should they have died, you had to take the panel of glass out to pull the light out. And then you had to disconnect the entire light from underneath. And so the problem with that is that if you went and put soffit or something underneath and made it tough to get to those lights, it was a big job to go replace those LEDs. But they've changed that now, and so now you can change it from above. You still have to take the glass out, but now you can just unscrew the light bulb from the top. You don't have to disconnect the wiring underneath. So if it's hidden in the soffit, that's okay. And that was a very important change to make, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like you weren't even gone.
No, it happened pretty fast, really. So
what are your thoughts on that, Wade?
then they changed the color of the light?
Yeah.
You have green light versus blue light?
I was saying that. Yeah, let's talk about that some more.
All good.
Yeah. So they changed the color of the lights a little bit. They change the way the light disconnects and is replaced, which is good because the lights won't last forever. At some point, you're going to replace some lights. They even had a few bad batches of lights that needed to be replaced already. We run into it. We have one that still needs to get out in there and get replaced. It is softened in. It's like, this is the exact reason why they had to go to the lights that you could change from above and not have to go underneath.
Bro laws. Which one of you runs this account? Joey? Dave? Joey? Do you know? We'll just wait.
You're killing it.
Silence.
You're killing it.
What do you mean I'm killing it? They just signed in. Dave's running it.
Yeah, but we had a good flow going, and then you all of a sudden just randomly talked to the camera.
This is Joey.
Didn't preface it with anything. It was like, anyway, Dave mostly, but this is Joey. So there you go. What did you want to do with that information?
I wanted to tell them how I name dropped them today.
Okay, well, tell the story.
So we have a customer come in today, and
well, this is not a bad story. Okay.
He was so proud that he had bought Regal Rail at Home Depot. And
Get out.
No, he bought it at Home Hardware, actually. He bought it at Home Hardware, but he didn't know we existed. And it was like, if I would have known you were there, I would have bought it from you.
Seems weird that they find us after they buy it all the time, right?
Right. So he was like, I bought this rail and I brought it home, and then I tuned in to YouTube and I watched like how to install this Regal. And so I typed it in and was like, install Regal Rail. And I watched all this YouTube video about it. And there was these guys, they're like, they used to work with Paul on Backyard Decks or something. Like, what show was that? And I was like, Deck Disaster? Yeah. That was it, Deck Disaster. Which guys were? I don't know. They were like the brothers or something. And they're like pretty funny. But anyways, they're like doing Regal videos. So then I showed Mark the picture of us with the Bro Laws. Because I believed it was the Bro Laws that were doing the videos. And the guy was...
Could have been. Yeah, Paul has done them and the Bro Laws have done them.
Nope, it was the Bro Laws. Because he was ecstatic that we knew the Bro Laws. He was like, yeah, those are the guys. You know them? I was like, yeah, we do know them. Yep, we've met them. And so... anyways,
so there you go, boys.
You're famous.
I don't know what you did for us today, but...
Nothing.
Like, we didn't get the sale. So what was he
here buying?
He
did get the sale. He bought the glass.
He bought the rail system from Home Hardware and then bought the glass from us?
Yeah, because he went to order the glass from Home Hardware, and they're like, yeah, we can't help you with that.
Oh, great.
And then he was like, well, how do I get glass? And then showed up at the Ultimate Deck Shop. And then.
Sweet.
Well,
Okay,
we sold him something.
There's the round out of the infills. Finishing with the coolest one, I think. Crystal rail on the topless glass category.
We should try and get some
Wowzers.
balusters? Illuminated balustrade. Illuminated balustrade.
So he's been talking about getting us some stuff, and I don't know where he's at with that. It's been a bit. So
we should like. Oh.
Anyway,
we have one coming up right now in Saskatoon. They need some crystal rail. Be good if they could crush illuminated balustrade up here right away.
What's he doing when he leaves?
Drugs. If we could get that baluster up here in time to put it on her deck, maybe we wouldn't do crystal rail on there. Maybe we could do his and showcase
why?
it.
Why would we do that? We have crystal rail and it's amazing. Why?
Maybe.
What are you trying to do right now?
Maybe his is more amazing.
Anyway, the types of mounts we're going to get to now, and then we're going to let Wade go to bed. Different types of railing can be installed different ways. We talked about how there's the kind of the frame-in option or integrated or blocked in or whatever. That's how wood posts used to be done, is they block it into the framing and then put your post sleeve over top. That's crappy. The most amazing way to do things now is surface mount all day, every day. Outside mount of some sort. And so we won't even talk so much time about the frame-in option because you don't even do aluminum that way. Most composites, like the post maybe gets mounted in that way, but thing of the past for the most part. That was always a common rot area anyway to mount the post in that way. So let's get away from it anyway. Mm-hmm. So nowadays, most of these systems are surface mount, especially if you're talking aluminum or these glass, topless glass systems.
And composite now too.
And a lot of composites. You can surface mount with those posts. So that's super easy and convenient. Some places don't want you doing that, especially if you've put some sort of waterproofing system on the deck. So like a vinyl sheet or something like that, because they don't want you to penetrate nobody's going there.
You're not even. It's like you're not even trying.
Penetrate the vinyl surface because it could initiate some leakage of some sort. I'm sorry. So instead, you can do, a lot of brands will offer a surface mounting option as well. So you can mount to the side, like a fascia mount. Sorry, not surface mount. Fascia mount to the side of the deck. They've different ways of achieving that. Some of them are like an elbow that connects to the regular post. Some of them are like a little sleeve that the post drops into. Some of them, the post itself bolts right onto the side of the deck. But why are you looking at me with those eyes?
Just like...
So fascia mount's becoming more and more common, I think. When you look out in BC, I believe that's one area where they don't want you putting it through the waterproof system, so you've got to fascia mount it.
Might even be cold out there.
I think it is. And so in town here, it's not nearly as common. Most people just surface mount it. But if you do want to save a little, a few extra inches on your deck, moving the post to the fascia mount will do that for you, because when you put the railing on your deck, you're going to chew up about 6 inches on the outside perimeter of your deck. So you're actually losing a little bit of space.
Pretty average sized.
Deck. Yeah. You're actually losing a little bit of space. So the fascia mount kind of moves that off, gives you that space back, if you know what I mean. BC fascia mount is 100% code. There you go. So, you walked yourself out of coffees on that. Ken, I still think that your stuff is great. And I'm not trying to sell anybody else's stuff over that. That's just Wade. So bring me a coffee. He's saying he was going to bring us McDonald's coffees, but you sat there and said you were going to try to flip some guy to some product that's in Australia versus the stuff that's on the shelves.
Hey,
Ken, that cost me a coffee, and I'm fairly pissed about it now.
Ken,
I'm so mad my nose is turning red.
Ken's trying to bring you $1 Days coffee. It's like, dude, you're going to have to bribe me with more than $1. And then also, for 2.5 years, I've been telling you make the pod square. This guy made them square. So this isn't my fault.
Okay.
Those
are the ways to mount the posts. I don't know if there's any questions that need to come in. How is our audience still so big in this? Like, this is ridiculous. We've been rambling on this thing forever. Wade's half cut.
Full cut.
It's not a good episode, but if you have any questions right now about railing, now's the time. Now Simcoe Dex shows up an hour and a half late after the Simcoe news.
I'm going to read it again.
Get off it.
Simcoe's in an outbreak.
So let's get some questions coming in from Instagram, if there is any, because other than that, that's all we were planning on talking about today.
Yeah.
We went through a bunch of brands, bunch
hour
of
and
types.
33 minutes. That's it.
And
That's all
this is
we're
a good
doing.
one. This is a long drive episode right here.
This is a 3-drive epised.
Yeah. So here we go. Oh boy, there's some comments coming in here now. Wade's all banged up, says the Rolas. That's true. So if you haven't seen or listened to the Brolas episode, that's why it's funny. You should go back in the episodes, and I don't know what number it is, but you should listen to that one. I keep wanting to say watch. Listen to it. It's hilarious. You did miss Simcoe
awful.
News, Simcoe Decks. That's what happens when you're an hour and a half late to the show. Colin True Builder says, I can use a coffee. I am all Regal, certified with Brolas. So there you go. He deserves a coffee. And
Yeah, Ken, go see our buddy Colin.
wait, hold on. Ken said something here. Coffee for Shane is on order. Wade will get Timmy's.
Oh yeah,
Is that an indication it's not coffee?
No, listen, because we freaked out about
Yeah, we
the
did.
McDonald's and Timmy's thing.
We did. What else we got here? TimberTech Garrett says, so what is the best railing brand? That's nope.
What do you mean no?
Well, I don't think there's a best. Wait, who's
You're
in
such
here?
a coward.
Regal's the best.
Pick a brand, man.
No, I don't have to, because we only carry 3 of them. We're only intimately, well, not like 3 of the standard ones plus Crystal. Like, never mind. We carry pretty much all the ones we talked about. What, like, my favorite to install is for sure TimberTech. Sorry, Garrett.
Yeah.
Is Fortress AL13 Home. That is by far the best to install. I like that Regal has the LED strip lights you can implement. Like, they got the accessories thing nailed down. I think they're the best accessories
Exactly.
in it. But
Simcoe-
Fortress would be my favorite install.
Simcoe nailed it. Here you go. Simcoe nailed it.
Wade's tip: point up at the top shelf. What?
What rails on your house?
That's Simcoe. What rails on my house? Wade. So both Century, I believe, right? You've got Century Scenic,
I have Century Scenic.
and
that
I've
was
got
because-
Century Non-Scenic.
So that was because when I put the railing on my house, I shopped at a lumberyard that sold rail. Century.
That's sold rail, yeah.
Century rail. That's what they sold.
Yeah. So we both happen to have Century. That's what worked.
If I could do it all over again, I would still have Century Scenic on my house.
Okay. Well, because I mean, the for sure the Crystal Rail doesn't work in all houses. Like,
It doesn't.
it's
work.
got to be a pretty modern
It doesn't work on my house.
looking house for it to work. It can't. Some houses are a little bit more contemporary styled, and the pods wouldn't look right on a lot
but
of them.
I back a park, and so I definitely wanted the topless rail, and so that was the look. Maybe I would do cable if I could do it again, maybe, but I for sure like the topless rail. So
Yeah, I've got
I'm
no
pretty happy
issues
with that.
with my rail that I put on. I like it. I wouldn't have any desire to change it. I wouldn't do Crystal Rail. I've got no massive view. I look at my garage. I don't care. I don't need to spend something on a beautiful view. I don't have a beautiful view.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with what I have. It could have just as easily been Regal, but it's not. So.
Yeah.
And honestly, my primary reason for that probably was the cleaner bottom rail. That was likely the deciding factor for me, because I did white. They both have a gloss white. They're both very similar price points. I just like the cleaner look of the bottom rail. That was probably my decision.
yeah, because
4 years ago when I
like
did
on
it.
the pickets, where the pickets go in between the the spacers between the pickets. It's like
Quigley Cable Rail, not surprisingly, says Quigley Cable Rail is the best. And Bro Laws says pressure treated wood picket railing is their preferred railing.
yeah, because they make more money on the install.
Yeah, it's
$75 a
it's
foot.
good looking. That's it. God, let's get the hell out of here. This has been so long. My nose is sore. I'm just kidding. It never actually felt sore, which is weird. It was all bruised up, but I couldn't tell.
Oh man, if your cheek was that purple, it would be sore. Like you would have been hit hard.
Yeah, no, you're going to have to, the people that just joined are going to wonder what the hell we're talking about. You're going to have to go back and listen to the start of the podcast when we post it, because there's a story there about my purple nose.
Nobody's gonna listen to that.
Set a record. It's one of the longest ever. Let's get out of here. Home time. Yeah, can we
Not
do this?
for me. I'm
Can we
going
just-
to the bar. Peace.
Okay, thanks for tuning in, guys. We finally got to this railing episode. We were overdue on it. That's why it's so long, I guess. Tune in next week. Make sure to watch on Instagram Live. See you next week.
You've been listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Ultimate Deck Podcast. Brought to you by the Ultimate Deck Shop. Shop with us at www.ultimatedeckshop.com or check us out at all the social networks we can keep up with. Hit us up for any collaboration or sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for listening.